Okay, so I'm kind of trying to work on like the magic system for my book, and my plan today was originally that I was gonna print out like my beat sheet or like my like plot summary kind of deal, so that I could like look at it and then kind of try to find all the places where our characters would need to use magic and like what magic has to be able to do within the story. But my printer, I knew that it was like low on ink, but now I'm not getting anything at all, just blank pages. So unfortunately I'm gonna have to go off of my laptop, which is not my preferred way to work on stuff like this. I just find it makes it more difficult to think, I guess. Like I have a harder time thinking onto like the computer than I do onto like paper. I don't know, something about the physical tactile makes it easier for me. So yeah, I'm going to pull up my plot summary and try to get some more work done. Hello. So it was now the next day. I didn't get as far as I was hoping to yesterday because I got distracted by applying for jobs. So we're here again to have another go. I've got myself a strawberry mango smoothie because I just did a workout, so got some protein in here. And then, so yesterday I was trying to kind of figure out like how my magic system will like interact with the world and like what is magic used for in like the world and like in the story. And I got some interesting ideas, made myself a page of notes. My thing is like I'll like start to like work on like the magic system or something, and like I get kind of like sidetracked. Like I'll reach like one part, like, oh, maybe the magic could be used for this thing, and then I start thinking about like the world building in general, and I get kind of like sidetracked. But I mean, I don't really know how you avoid that because all these things are like connected. So I also like, not even just like world building, like I come up with like some things that would like change like smaller parts of like the plot, not specifically like huge things, but like things that like, it's good to know like now before, but then like after I'd already like started writing and like done these things, and I was like, okay, well that would be better if I did it this other way. And I just feel like as I'm like kind of like doing all this like brainstorming and stuff, I'm like coming up with a lot more ideas that almost make like the world more complex. And like I'm not specifically like setting out to write like a really complex story or like world. Like I feel like for my first go at writing something like long form, I don't want to go too complex because I don't think I have the skill to pull that off. But I do think that having more complex details does help like make the world feel more real and like more thought out. So yeah, I'm happy with sort of how that's going and like the ideas that are bubbling up. But yeah, today I kind of want to think about how my story begins, because I'm not totally sure like exactly what scene I wanted to start with. Like I was considering starting with like a prologue that's like in, well, you know, it's before the events of the story, sort of explaining how we got to like where we are. but I'm not totally sure if that's right. And then I need to have, so like the night witches at the beginning have like a council to decide who they're sending, but I'm not sure if I should include that council. I'm kind of thinking I might skip it and potentially start with like her leaving, like start like right then when she leaves, and then maybe like cut back to that council like as what they discussed becomes like relevant or like important to the story, you know? I just feel like it might be more like exciting and interesting to start with like immediately leaving on an adventure potentially. So yeah, some things to consider. I think I'm gonna kind of maybe try to think about that a bit today. I don't know, I always get a little bit, as I was saying, like sidetracked. So yeah, I'm gonna pull up some ambient fantasy music to listen to and try to figure out some more stuff. Okay, so maybe this isn't like the most like conventional way to do it, I don't really know, but I've made myself a pros and cons list for each of like the ways that I could start my story. So we've got like the prologue where we would look at how like the Sun Witches do like the takeover thing, and then we've got the Night Witches Council where they would decide who to send and like what they're gonna do about like their whole situation. And then we have the leave taking, like when she leaves the Night Witches like hideout camp area and then just like arriving at the capital. And what I think is the best way to do it is to start with like a prologue where, yeah, we are sort of learning or like seeing the actual like Sun Witches like takeover thing. My main con with that is like I'm not totally sure what that like would look like because I haven't really thought too much about how that would exactly would go down. But I think it could be like a good, more like action-y sort of scene to like start things off, get things like exciting right away, and then we cut to our actual like story beginning where it's going to be a little bit probably more slow at the beginning. And I'm thinking that when we join our main character, we might start right with them arriving at the capital, just because I don't really think the journey from the Night Witches like sanctuary to the capital is really that important. Like I don't really have any plans for any specific scenes that would happen along the way. Like it could be a good way to sort of like get to know our main character more and like have some time to spend alone with her, but unless things are like happening, I don't know, it'd probably be boring to just like if we look at our map, this is like where the Night Witches like are hanging out. This is the capital, so she'd probably take like a boat all this way and then, I don't know, walk or like rent a horse or something, hitch a ride, you know? And I don't think that would be very interesting to just like be inside her head as we like spend a week or whatever on a boat. So yeah, for that reason I'm kind of thinking we start at the capital, then there's stuff for her to do like right away, but also like isn't like she'll like immediately figure stuff out, so it'll still be like kind of slower and we'll still have like time to like get to know her. So I'm thinking that is what I'm gonna do. But yeah, so I definitely know I think I'm gonna have a prologue now, so I need to figure out what exactly went down with like the Sun Witches and Night Witches and like what little segment I want to use for the prologue. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna kind of try to figure out what that part of the story looks like. Okay, so it's been about another 30 minutes, and unsurprisingly, I started off writing stuff that like, I was like, okay, this is kind of like what can happen in the prologue, and then I got extremely distracted because I started thinking about, well, I was like, okay, so if it's like constantly day, how does that work? Does the sun like fixed in one spot? Does it like do its thing and then like really quickly go like whoop and like appear again? Or does it like kind of like bounce back and forth? And then of course that led me to think like, is the world round? Is it flat? How does the flat work? You know, what's after the end of the planet? So yeah, I got kind of distracted thinking about that. I think I've decided that the world is round and that the sun does one of these bouncing back and forth things. And then I was also kind of thinking more about like what's like the night, which is a motivation to be like, okay, this finally needs to end. Like, are they just solely in it because they're like, oh, we want our power back? Because like, I feel like that's like something that people would do, but I'm also not sure that it's a really interesting and deep sort of motivation. That's kind of another thing that I was thinking is like, people are like desperate for the night witch's help, especially with like healing and stuff. I think the Day Witches did have sort of some like healing things that they could do, but without the Night Witches more like specialized and refined healing, people are dying from things that they never died from before, so they're like, we're not really cool with this, we don't really like it. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. But yeah, I didn't really get very far like what actually specifically happens in the prologue. Oh, I did have some ideas. I was thinking that like there's like a ceremony at the summer solstice and the winter solstice where night witches their power would start to grow at summer solstice because the nights would begin to get longer, and then the winter solstice the sun witch's power would begin to grow because the days or the nights begin to get shorter. So I was thinking that it would be like traditional that the whoever's season it was their power was waxing would be the palace advisor. So this ceremony would be like the changeover, and the Day Witches like co-opt that to seize power. That's kind of the thought. I think that would be a good way to have it like be like a public thing where it's dramatic and stuff goes down. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I do have some other things to do today, so I think I'm going to stop working on this for now. And yeah, this video, I'm supposed to post it tomorrow, so I think this might be the final writing session that I include in this video. So let me know in the comments what you thought of the format and just like the video in general. Do you enjoy it? Are you interested in this kind of thing? And let me know if you have any feedback on like the ideas that I've talked about. But yeah, I think that is all that I have for you today. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.